You ever hear the tragedy of Darth Jar Jar the Wise? I thought not. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you, though frankly, I'm not so sure they're aware. I'm sure you've heard the conspiracy theories that Jar Jar Binks may secretly be a Sith Lord, and I suppose there may be some merit, or at least a way that Disney could possibly implement this into the current canon, though it would be from a certain point of view. Now, of course, you've seen videos of this very topic, usually discussing their interest in Jar Jar's hand-waving, making things go his way, his, quote, bad luck, end quote, his clumsiness, perhaps, being signs that he may secretly be in control, especially when you take into account that he gave Darth Sidious emergency wartime powers. But there is far more. Of course, there's the yellow eyes, there's his athletic ability. I mean, come on, what normal person could ever make that jump? But there is something else. If you recall, when Darth Sidious, or Palpatine as he is known at the time more publicly, is telling Anakin Skywalker the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, he tells him that Darth Plagueis was killed in his sleep by his apprentice. Palpatine, of course, being said apprentice. But keep in mind, death can take many forms, and from a certain point of view, wiping someone's memory, erasing who they are as a person, could count as death of sorts, which is what I'm referring to in this particular instance. You see, what if Jar Jar Binks is Darth Plagueis? Seriously, consider the idea. What if, and I know this might seem a bit odd, what if Jar Jar Binks is the real Darth Plagueis? And yes, I know the Acolyte did show what we assumed to be Darth Plagueis, and what may have been outside of the story, anyways, confirmed to be Darth Plagueis. We have not heard him named as such, and therefore this mysterious figure could simply be a predecessor of sorts. You see, in the Rule of Two era, a Sith Master can last anywhere between a decade to even a century. So, since it is not confirmed in story that that is Darth Plagueis, frankly, I am not convinced. So, in this particular instance, we'll assume Jar Jar Binks is Darth Plagueis. Then how, pray tell, could he still be alive? Again, there is a dark side ability, or rather, a force ability that has been used for the dark side, but also the light, that removes the memories of an individual. Sometimes it requires a great deal of concentration, such as what we see in the Acolyte, when the stranger, as he is called, wipes the memories of May. Thus, she is no longer May. At least, not the May that we knew. As such, in a sense, she is dead, or at the very least dormant. It is possible, with Darth Sidious being one of the most powerful Sith in galactic history, and quite possibly the most powerful Sith Lord in galactic history, though that is a subject to debate, he could have wiped the memory of his master while his master slept, because the story of how he killed Darth Plagueis is very much legends, that being in the Plagueis novel an excellent read. You see, Jar Jar Binks obviously exhibits at least some potential in the Force. On top of that, Jar Jar has a tendency to always be in the wrong place at the wrong time, or perhaps the right place at the right time. He was right where Qui-Gon needed to meet him when he met him. He was, of course, in the Senate, in the Congressional Hall on Coruscant, where he gave Chancellor Palpatine his emergency powers. On top of that, he was also where he needed to be to rescue Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Dooku from Hondo Ohnaka during the Clone Wars. He was also where he needed to be to save Padme on Rhodia. And there are so many more. You could say this is the will of the Force, and perhaps it is, but what if, on a subconscious level, Jar Jar knows who he is, but simply doesn't remember on the conscious level? Similar to Revan in the ancient past, also in Legends. In the KOTOR game, you often have visions of Revan and his past, but you don't really know that you're Revan until the end of the game. And it's not a spoiler, because this game is, if I remember correctly, about 20 years old. I could be wrong, but it's been long enough to where that's not a spoiler. So what if it's the same for Jar Jar Binks? You see, yes, in the Aftermath novels, which have been butchered totally, we see that there is a Gungan, though unnamed. There is a Gungan who acts as a clown and entertainer on the street for the children of Theed. It is implied to be Jar Jar Binks, but never confirmed, like I already stated. Therefore, what if Plagueis eventually rediscovers his identity? So in theory, Darth Jar Jar could be more than just a Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy joke. Although I will say that was one of the highlights for me. No, Jar Jar Binks is Darth Plagueis the Wise. It would explain how he's lived so long, considering he was already a very fully grown man, in the Phantom Menace. And then, after the end of the Galactic Civil War, 50 years later, he's still at his antics. Implied, anyways, in the Aftermath novels. So, again, he could perhaps be using the Force to prolong his life. This is just my 2 cents, a Darth Jar Jar discussion and theory video, if you will. But let me know what you think. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm reaching? Or do you think I may possibly have created a way for Disney to give us a long-term villain out of a long-time comic relief / hero character? Let me know in the comments below. Feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I really must stress the commenting because I like this discussion topic. So until next time, may the Force ever serve you.
I kiss my stick, you